you're at the Minotaur offices right now, is that
Yeah,
right?
this is the Minotaur headquarters.
Okay, right on.
Hey, Brock, how you doing? Thanks
Good,
for
doing
joining the
well.
call.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Awesome. So we were just having a quick chat before we started about how you found us, man. Do you want to keep going with that story?
Yeah, so I've been in the crypto space since 2016, 2017.
Yeah.
Started off kind of trading on my own a little bit here and there, mostly bought, not knowing at all what I was doing at the time.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people, right? And a lot of people, calling me names and you shouldn't do that. What are you doing buying this thing? What's this thing? Bitcoin, And so I remember buying Bitcoin for, $300
Yeah.
in 2017, right? Like a lot of people who are still in the space. So I was trading back and forth, and then for years, really just kind of turned into a holder. So I was just holding.
Yeah.
I had converted a lot of Bitcoin into altcoins, kind of over the years, and just the past year or so, I've been thinking, well, I've got this capital sitting there. I probably should do something with it. And so that's when I started looking, thinking, well, maybe there is something where I can hold on to the capital, but use it to make money.
Yeah.
Came across one of your ads, honestly. And I'm pretty loath to click on ads. I normally don't, but it was whatever it was about it. It was enticing enough for me. So I did that.
Cool.
I clicked on it, and the whole time, in all honesty, I'm thinking to myself, there's so many scams out there. This has to be a crypto scam, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I approached it very, very, very cautiously, right? Just kind of limped in a little bit and started talking, to some of the people, Fernando and some of the other people. And I thought, okay, well, maybe it's legit. If it's legit, this is going to be great. And so, like I said, I just kind of limped in and put a little bit in, and it became very clear very quickly that it was not a scam, right? It was really the opposite. But I had never heard of it before, and so I didn't know anything about it. I have always been very comfortable with technology, in the crypto space and all that. So. I don't have a whole lot of experience trading. I've done, a little bit of the stock market here and there, but I am by no means a professional trader. So the idea of automated trading, AI based, quant trading was pretty enticing to me.
Yeah.
Because I've shied away really, really because of the emotion of it all. I was reticent to put capital that I'd had for a while in any type of system that was reliant on my own emotions. I guess, to be honest, right? And so and
that's a smart move, that can be, having that honesty with yourself is a smart move.
Yeah. And I mean, it's been almost a decade, so I'm so used to having the capital now. It's like I don't want to hold it for almost 10 years and then lose it. Right. And so that in and of itself kind of led to a bit of the caution that I was taking, when it comes to Minotaur. And I look at it now and I think, really, in many ways, thank goodness I found you guys, right? I mean, thanks, it's really a great thing that you guys have created. And as it became more clear to me that this is really quite legit, talking with Sebastian, and he's like, maybe you should look at the trading desk, right? And this might really fit for what you're doing. And so jumped onto the trading desk, start, chatting with Marcus, and it was pretty clear to me, like, this is where I need to be, right? And so that was the next logical step for me. I, had been trading a little bit here and there with everything that Fernando actually set up with me for the most part. All of my communication up to that point was really with Sebastian and Fernando, and just with the professionalism and the way that everything worked, and the fact that I was making money from the get-go. All of that stuff just really made it very clear to me that this is legitimate. This is not a scam. And so what's the next step? right? And so that's
Well,
really kind of led me to where I'm at now.
Well, that's the trading desk is an interesting part. We'll talk about that in a second. But what I wanted to jump back to is a lot of people that watch these videos have probably done the same thing as you, right? They've watched an ad, they hear some Australian guy talking about something, and they click on it. And what is this? Firstly, the word scam comes up a lot. And one thing, I want to ask you to tell people who are listening is that, have you ever sent us any of the investment money, or you are 100% control of your funds at all times?
Oh yeah, I mean, and that was another thing. Honestly, I mean, I was looking and figuring like, okay, how are these guys going to get a hold of this money, right? Because I have total control of it. It's in my exchange that I've had for a long time.
Yeah,
and it's my own APIs, and there's no. I'm just going through the whole process thinking, there must be some way they have access to this, right? I'm thinking, these guys are pretending they're from Australia and they're going to be a scam, and I'm going through and yeah, absolutely. And so then it became really clear. It's like, yeah, I have absolute total control of 100% of the funds.
Yeah,
there's no question in my mind at this point that it's anything but absolutely 100% legit. No question.
Fantastic. So then tell people out there, what exactly is it that we give you? Like, how do we make you money if you're not sending us any money? What are we actually giving you? What are we actually doing for you?
Yeah. I've been a business owner for a long time. So anytime I'm getting involved with something, I'm looking at it from that perspective, saying, okay, these guys have to be making money. That's the whole point of doing something like this, right? So I start thinking through that process and saying, okay, what they've done is created very specific proprietary algorithms for basically automatic trading, right?
And that's right.
And so I said to myself, okay, as I'm going through this and looking into Minotaur and in this process, okay, they're making money. And at the time, I'm thinking to myself, not by stealing my money, but by what I'm paying them for these proprietary algorithms. Right. Thinking then at the time, okay, this makes sense. If you have a system that works, we can use computers. This has been done for a long time in the stock market to automatically trade, right? There's certain parameters that are set. And so that made sense to me that we could go about that process. And so it was just each step brought me a little bit closer to really grasping what it was you guys were doing. And really, that's exactly what it was. What you're providing is exactly what I wanted.
Perfect.
In the sense of automatic trading that wasn't reliant on me to stare at a screen and know when to buy and when to sell and all that. Yeah. And so at this point, it's become clear to me that really I'm an operator, right? I mean, the bots are created, all of the algorithms, everything is done and created by the dev team. Yeah. And what you guys are doing, and I don't have to mess with that. I don't have to know any of that, right? The proof is in the pudding, as it were, and the profitability that's there is unmistakable, right? Yeah. I mean, I keep a spreadsheet of everything and kind of a nerd like that. And so I see exactly what the profit is and exactly what the percentages are based on the investment. Yeah. And it's crystal clear to me now that this type of investing blows anything else out of the water, right? There's no question at this point. Honestly, I find myself thinking, when's the shoe going to drop, right? It's because I've believed for a long time. My dad taught me that, if something seems too good to be true, it probably is. And that's what I thought going into it. It's like, nah, there's no way. And in all honesty, anybody who's doing this has done some hard work already in the sense of building up the capital to be able to use to invest, right? Yeah. And so once I realized that, it's like, okay, there's another piece that's there, because I've never believed in this idea of truly passive income, in the sense that you can have nothing and then get something. It doesn't work. Life doesn't work that way. Yes. And so yes, if you have the capital to begin, and it doesn't take that much, right? I mean, the more you invest, then the more you're going to make. But overall, having that capital and being able to utilize that and put that to work to make more money makes a ton of sense to me. And then I guess the icing on the cake for me really was the eventual understanding that whoever it is that I've talked to, it's all about capital preservation, period.
Yeah.
Like everything falls under the umbrella of capital preservation, because without capital, you can't do any of this, but with capital, you can. So
Correct.
let's make sure, no matter what, to protect the capital.
Yeah.
And from there, then we can work on using that capital to make money. And and that's what it's done now. And I've been doing this. I first got involved last July. And this is now almost May, so almost a year.
Yeah.
And yeah, and it took me a few months to kind of get used to it and begin to understand the process and all that. So I'm definitely making more now than I did the first couple of months, which is probably to be, expected in anything new that you're doing.
Yeah. One thing I wanted to dive into there is the risk management. And a lot of algorithms, they're basically trend followers, and they're trying to guess the price. And what tends to happen is you have an algorithm that's a black box. And when the wheels fall off, right? But what I wanted to ask you, and the way that we've set up our algorithms and our broader strategy, is you have a number, at what point the wheels will fall off. You have the roadmap in front of you. You know what the algorithm will survive, where its risk levels are, and you can change and adjust those at any given time. So you're not working with a black box. Like, how this algorithm will perform and where the red lines are, right? You know which lanes to stay in. And I actually think that's a really unique thing that we bring to this industry, specifically crypto trading. And secondly, and you can elaborate on whichever point you want, is the fact that we really only trade Bitcoin, that we've moved away from the altcoins and the crazy stuff that a lot of people think is going to make them rich. And we've really focused on the one asset that, given enough time, will make us incredibly wealthy if we just focus on the risk management and the capital preservation, right?
Yes. Yeah. There's no doubt. I will say the first thing I thought of when you started sharing was, I sleep very well at night.
Yeah.
Right. I mean,
which is important.
It's huge. I mean, I honestly, since I started doing this in the beginning, I didn't know what I didn't know, but what I know now, and as I've learned a lot from Marcus, right? Brilliant. He's very knowledgeable, very good at what he does. He brings a lot to the table, clearly. Understanding how the algorithms work and utilizing the calculator to be able to make sure that no matter what, my assets are protected, and I have zero question that they are. And I have learned, and I can run more risky or less risky, right, based on my own preferences. But it's very clear to me at this point that unless there's an Armageddon type situation where the entire world's financial markets fall out from underneath all of us, short of that, I have very, very little concern about losing any assets or not having the capital preserved. Because it's just very easy with your system to figure that out and to know what it is. I mean, it's part of the process. It's very easy. It's very quick.
Cool.
And it's very accurate. And then understanding how smart money, how the big boys move and how they work, and knowing what their average buy-in is, speaking of Bitcoin specifically. And as I said in the beginning, I've really always been more of an altcoin guy, really, right? But and while a lot of my equity and capital is in altcoins. 100% of the trading I'm doing is with Bitcoin. And a lot of that has to do with being able to sleep at night, because I know what the big boys are doing and how much of that is being traded.
Yeah.
And where they want to be and the limits that they want to keep themselves at. So it all just works very symbiotically.
Yeah.
And makes all of it just absolutely makes sense to me at this point. 100%.
Fantastic. And I guess that's another thing that I have a lot of conversations with people that, especially online, when you're not necessarily working people face to face. And, what I try to communicate is that, we do have an algorithm that we spend a lot of time and a lot of hours, a lot of thinking developing. And yes, we have a bot that executes the trades, but it's much more than that, right? It's a system and it's a way of thought, and it's almost like a philosophy as well. We're choosing a specific asset. We're trying to understand how it performs in the short term, in the medium term, in the long term, how it works in cycles. And then we're educating ourselves with as much knowledge, and then we're giving ourselves these tools to then take control and make opportunity out of the volatility and all that. So what I'm trying to say is that the Minotaur Trading System is not just a bot. It's not just an algorithm. It's much more than that. And we try and give you, the consulting, the information, the knowledge to empower you as well to take, to be able to run it yourself.
Yeah, there's no doubt. It absolutely is more than just an algorithm, right? I mean, and maybe we'll get it more into the trading list later, but just thinking about the trading desk and in terms of strategy and how one thinks about this overall, it's interesting. The bots themselves, while obviously absolutely integral to the whole process, right? As that's the trading that's happening, there is so much more. And the amount of knowledge that I possess now compared to when I first started. When I first started, I literally had no idea. You guys were jumping on, controlling my screen, doing everything for me, which was great, and it was what I needed at the time. And you guys did a fantastic job of that. But I had no idea.
Yeah.
And now, because of the entire process, I do. There's no doubt. I'm just way more comfortable in the space, and honestly, so much more so that I was just talking to my own mother.
Oh, yeah.
and she was talking to me about some high yield CD, I think that she had, that was getting her like 4% or something, and so then I just showed her some of these numbers, and she's like, well, how do I do what's this, right? And I'm like, okay, take a deep breath. I'll help you. We'll figure this out, right? But so I mean, that in and of itself is probably all the testimony anybody would need, is that I'm very comfortable with my own mother and helping her get going on this and doing this for sure.
Yeah, fantastic. That's great to hear. And yeah, we'll dive into the trading desk as well. So you're one of our, we'll call it like one of our elite traders. So you've been with us for a while. We've got a kind of the settings that we recommend for most people, the sleep at night settings, the ones that you can kind of set and forget. They're going to survive pretty much all market conditions. But then there are people that come in, and whether they spend a lot of time with us and they want to get more out of it. But what we've built with the algorithm is like a Swiss Army knife. So you can pull the levers to make things happen faster and make things happen quicker. And we've actually created a trading desk, which is managed by one of our clients, Marcus. I'm not sure if you knew, but Marcus was originally a client. And he turned the let's call it the Mercedes into the Ferrari, something like that. He's the one who said, we can turn this into a sports car and we can see how it goes. So yeah, talk to us a little bit about the advanced trading that you're doing in the trading desk, and sort of what that, how that works for you and what you've got out of that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm not sure, what level of detail you're looking for.
Just broad strokes. Yeah.
In the beginning, when I first started before the trading desk, like I said, I was brand new. I'd never used a bot to trade anything in my life. I had no idea about any of it, literally none. And so it was all completely done for me. And then in the process of wanting to learn more and talking with Sebastian and all that, he pointed me to the trading desk. Met Marcus, started going through all that. And so I went from having one bot that was kind of an all-purpose bot that was kind of built for me that was doing fine to, I think right now I have 7 bots. Some short, some long, some different ones that do different things. But even one that I purposely built completely separate from everything else on a separate sub account that does very well in a bull market, right? So if you know things are going up and you can watch as things are going, I'll implement that one and I'll get that one going, right? And so I've gone, you know, in, I don't know, what is it, maybe 9 months or so, from not knowing anything about bots to now
building your
having
own
7 of them, all that I built on my own. From, you know, a lot of it in the beginning was even Marcus's instructions. And in all honesty, at this point, after having done it for this long now, which is obviously not as long as some others, but enough time to make me very comfortable, most of the bots that I have are the exact settings put forth by the dev team, by Marcus, right? So I have some that I've kind of altered on my own to kind of play around with a little bit, but that's as much for me to learn and to see what works and what doesn't work. And it's very clear to me at this point, the bot settings that are suggested really are the ones that work really well. And there's been a lot of back testing that's done to provide those settings, right? And so, yeah, I'm very comfortable now in the world of using this kind of automated trading, you know, if you will. And now it's just a matter of, I have a handful of bots that I could just leave going all the time. Some of them, you know, I'll pause to kind of squeeze a little bit more out of there. You call it greed, maybe. You don't have to, you know, and it's something that I'm just kind of playing with to learn as much as anything, you know, because, you know, I talked about my mom a little bit earlier, but, you know, I probably have a list that I have probably 20 guys that, you know, I think would be interested in something like this, but I want to really know it and really test it myself first and kind of be that guinea pig before I say, hey guys, look at what I'm doing here, right? That kind of a thing. But these are, you know, I mean, some of my best friends and family members for sure.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, that's so good to hear. It's, you know, it's been a year, and hopefully we get to meet you. Another thing, you know, we meet our clients at the BTC conference in the USA every single year. We're going to be in Vegas in less than 30 days. So, you know, if you're there, fantastic. If you're there, you know, we get to meet. And, you know, anyone who wants to meet us as well, come along to these events and, you know, shake our hands, talk to us. And, you know, as you can see, we're doing the best we can to get people fantastic results. And I want to thank you, Brock, for, you know, sharing your insights with everyone.
My pleasure.
Awesome. Thanks, Brock.
You bet.